Solo mains express their discontent in Love and Deepspace, and I'm about to tell you exactly why in this particular video. Some important quick disclaimers as per usual. Just to let you all know that once again we will be taking to Reddit, and all of my love and support and shout out goes to the wonderful Reddit users that post their opinions and comments for the rest of us to really engage with and read and really have a deep ponder session one to one with ourselves and with others. Welcome back, my fellow beach blossoms of Linkon. Now this video will particularly resonate to those types of players that choose to main or rather collect the memory cards of one specific love interest, or otherwise known as solo mains. Okay, now maybe a person might be interested or love all the guys, but they can realistically only afford to pull for one guy. Or maybe you just genuinely resonate with just one guy's story and his mannerisms and personality. That's completely okay. It completely doesn't matter what your circumstances or reasons are for choosing to main one love interest. All of your feelings and reasons are valid. The point or the topic of discussion is how many cards realistically of one singular love interest can a solo main truly complete? Is it possible for solo mains to get 100% collection of all their love interest cards? Is it really possible? Let's find out with this Reddit post that stood out to me and a couple of comments under this post that really stood out to me as well. So let us begin, shall we? This person says, I hate to say this, but it's gotta be said. There's always going to be a banner that inconveniences someone's main. People are upset because of some back-to-back content with certain love interests, Zayn in particular right now, and saying it isn't fair. There is content coming out constantly. You just have to understand you won't be able to collect it all every time. Things should eventually rerun, and also make another account to main one love interest so you only use diamonds for that particular character. The first response that stood out to me: yes, you can't collect them, but paying should enhance game experience, whereas nowadays even paying players can see that there's a problem. We're not getting the money's worth, and that's just focusing on one love interest or LI. Yeah, honestly, the first response, I agree with the person, because the thing is, how is it possible that even when a player chooses to maintain their resources and diamond savings and everything just for one love interest, it's still not possible to get all of his cards? I feel like that is kind of like a mind-blowing, mindfuck kind of situation. Is it not? It really does feel really bizarre. Just think about it for 1 second. It's one thing that we often hear about how free-to-play players have to, skip banners if they want to be able to collect enough diamonds to get the one guy's card that they want. But what happens in the event that, imagine like a free-to-play player has saved up 70 wishes, and then on a multi-banner, for example, if maybe it's a multi-banner theme that the person or the player really loves and really wants to pull on, but they don't end up getting like the card that they want. Let's say, for example, their main love interest is Silas, right? And they don't get Silas's card, they get another guy's card. Then what? All their savings quite literally go down the drain. Similarly, for a low spending player, the same issue will happen. Like, you make 70 pulls or less than 70 pulls, but the card that you get, whether it's early pity or takes you to hard pity, it's another guy's card. Like, this has happened to me quite a bit at the beginning when I was like a Silas only main at the start. I would never get Silas's card first. Like, in spite of keeping him as my precise wish during multi-banners, I would never get him first. I would always get Zayn first, okay? And on one occasion, I remember getting Xavier once, like before Silas. But always, I would never get the precise wish that I select. That's like a common issue I think most of us have been facing or have faced since the dawn of time of the game. Now, the second response, they said, I spent let's just assume $80, because they didn't mention the currency, a month on this game. I main Caleb, but my second favorite is Xavier. I can only afford to consistently R1 Caleb's cards and occasionally pull for an R0 Xavier. I've been playing Otome for at least a decade now, and I've never played one this expensive. I understand it's a gacha, and I was aware that they can get pretty expensive, but holy, I really thought with my budget I'd be able to get all of the cards I want at least. In previous Otome, this was never an issue. It's really a shame because, at least for me, the stories/cards are my favorite part of the game. And watching them on YouTube, 1, isn't guaranteed in the future, and number 2, isn't as enjoyable for me as having the cards in my own game. I've begun to doubt if the gacha mechanic is really what is best for otomes. I love this game and I want it to stick around for a long time, or rather, very long time. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I do recognize the value in the quality of the features and cards. But to be completely honest, I don't see myself playing any other gacha otomes in the future. Genuinely, that last sentence that she said, I wholeheartedly agree. This is actually preventing me from want to try to play other gacha otome style games in the future if they're going to be this aggravating. You know what I'm saying? The next response says, in my opinion, the big disconnect here is that too many people assume this game is an otome system. It isn't. First and foremost, this is a gacha game, which is at its core an RNG gambling game. I do wish more players understood that this is a gacha game and not merely a romance otome. There's a pretty massive difference in expected spending and time investments between those two. I totally get why people are frustrated, but I also think that the frustration often comes from a lack of understanding of what type of game they are really playing. There can't be any expectation that you are guaranteed to collect all of your love interest stories, not unless you're willing to pay serious money. That's just how gachas are. In bracket, I'm thinking to myself, I'm sick and tired of listening to this phrase, but let us go on reading, shall we? Not saying it's right. I think that gachas are largely predatory and unfair, but it is what it is. Asking Infold to stop operating their gacha game like a gacha game is nonsensical. In bracket, they are saying, not saying you said this, but I've seen this online here. And to this person's response, somebody replied to them saying, nobody is asking Infold to stop operating the gacha system, but there is a threshold. The same way a lot of people say too much tax kills the tax. As a paying customer, if your gaming experience isn't as that much different compared to a free-to-play player when you're focusing on just one love interest, then there isn't much point, and a lot of people get frustrated and quit paying as much. That's what we're noticing with the recent schedule as well, as the incessant and increasingly expensive paywalled items and reruns who are more expensive, yet not yielding the equivalent resources. Do you think it's normal for a vendor to severely punish its newer and older, to be honest, clientele just because we don't know about the game sooner? They make an excellent point, by the way. Whales are going to whale regardless, but I believe the bulk of players are moderate spenders, and if they lower their spending or stop completely, that's a big chunk of money to lose just out of greed and overconfidence, wouldn't you say so? This next response reads, I can only be grateful I've been playing since day one, that I don't need to get anything on a rerun. I've been focusing on one love interest only, and it's been hella expensive for me to just make sure I get Silas. I totally understand this feeling, not going to lie. I can only imagine how hard it is for newer players. It's like Infold doesn't give a single F if you can't afford buying the reruns on top of the current paywall features, and not to mention all of the new content that they keep, or new banner cards and other new content that they keep throwing in our face. The next person says, it's been said time and time again by many experienced players that if you are not intending to pour lots of money into the game, you must accept that there will be banners you will have to skip. Sometimes, the way some banners/myths align, it can feel overwhelming or impossible to pull for everything. And that is where you exercise some judgment and prioritize banners as best as you can. It's easier said than done, as one might say, like easier said in theory than in practicality, but let's just carry on, shall we? I hope no one is falling into the mindset that they need to pull for everything. You don't. Taking this attitude of not pulling for everything will make the game more enjoyable by taking the pressure off. Then this player said, yeah, these companies want to pressure players into spending, no exceptions. I always advise my friend to relax and not let themselves give in to it. Brackets, unless they got that much disposable income, I don't say anything, since things rerun and YouTube exists. But let's not forget that these companies rely on preying on the vulnerable minds in order to make such predatory tactics successful mainly. So while yes, you are right, don't forget that Infold is doing that on purpose, and people's concerns about the aggressive banner schedule are actually just as valid. Another response reads, this isn't the first time it's happened and it won't be the last. Still, people should be allowed to express their thoughts and feelings. Even if most things go unheard and unchanged, it is still worth speaking up when you're not satisfied. This is that common saying, like small voices might seem small when it is done individually or when the voice is individual, but a collection or a group of small voices can lead to a large, uh, you know, choir or a large theater. You know what I'm trying to say? Like everyone's voices, small voices can amplify the message in the end. So never feel like your feelings are not valid. Your feelings are 100% valid, which is why we should all continue to speak up politely and respectfully about the concerns and criticisms that we have for the game, because let's face it, we fucking love this game. Okay, we want this game to succeed and be the best of the best, and for that they need to take constructive criticism, which is why I feel like it is so important to keep writing and doing the surveys. I know it can be stressful and feels like, it's falling on deaf ears, but trust me, the more of us that continue to write in them, the more they will be pressured at some point to make valid changes. It's either that or some sort of 3D Otome competitor will, hear these videos or watch these videos and listen to our concerns and make a better game. Okay, it is what it is. This response says, I think people should also learn to accept the fact that people have the right to voice their concerns and opinions, because that is also just how it's going to be, whether you personally like it or not. Paying customers of any company have the right to express their dissatisfaction with the product they're consuming, and this rule has existed forever. So I truly do not understand the problem here. This one says, but I will never understand why asking for a breather between banners is an issue, especially since it will also help Infold and decrease the stress of pumping out new banners every month, which will also help them focus on better storylines instead of half-baked events that don't sit right with their audience. I understand defending them here and there, but at least understand where the criticism is coming from. And of course, people have the right to show their frustration with a company that fails to address their major concerns, but has no issue coming up with something new every other day to trample on their legitimate worries. This defend a multi-billion, I'm going to say billion because Infold or Paper Games is a multi-billion-dollar company, at the behest of players' sentiment is getting really concerning. Facts. No, for real. I have always wondered, even for Infinity Nikki, because I'm a day one player with Infinity Nikki as well. So I can say this, okay? I have been playing since day one, and even they run events for almost like 30 days. Yes, I think there are some 4-star banners that have lasted for like 15, 17 days. But for the major event updates that happen, like 1.6, 1.7, they last for 30, 33 days. The whole thing, which means people have that much time to pull on the new banners. If Infinity Nikki, and I'm not defending that game by any means, I'm just talking about the banner durations. If that game can have like 30 to 33 days where they like 2-3 banners can run for the whole month, what is stopping Love and Deepspace or Infold from allowing Love and Deepspace banners to run just the same amount of time? Like whether 2 events, 3 events or 4 banners or 4 events are happening at one time, run all of them for 30 days. I mean, the girls that love the guys, whoever their favorite love interest is, they're gonna pull regardless. So might as well extend the banner duration. Do you know what I'm saying? I hope I'm making sense, because this makes a lot of sense to me, okay? Now, this person's response really made me think. Okay, let me read it out first. Yeah, that's pretty much a standard gacha/gambling game mechanism. Back-to-back events and content to make FOMO, or fear of missing out. At least from my side, I'm okay with not having all of my mains cards. I didn't get any of the guys' event cards in this beach banner, and I'm fine with that. Let's talk about why this person might be fine with that. Maybe they're okay with watching the event cards and stories on YouTube. Probably they're completely fine with that, or maybe they have a friend in real life who maybe is pulling for the cards on their behalf, or somebody else is pulling so they can just read it too. I don't know. They might have different other means of trying to read the cards, right? Whatever suits their fancy or tickles their fancy. But the point is, like, not being able to get 100% cards and then just writing it off as, oh, but every gacha game is like this, or yes, FOMO, this is how they create FOMO. Like, we obviously are fully well aware of that. Like, we know this, okay? And I don't know, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm starting to get annoyed when I hear people constantly saying, oh, but it's a gacha game. Like, no shit, like as if we don't freaking know. We know it's a bloody gacha game, okay? That doesn't excuse the fact that we are voicing valid concerns. Like, Okay, fine, make the cards limited, fine, release them back to back in succession, but at least make them 30 days, at least at least increase the freaking banner duration time. Like, is that so difficult? Yes, it's actually not difficult for them. They are literally preying on our emotional manipulation, or they are doing emotional manipulation, because we have such emotional attachments or emotional investment to these fictional hot male characters. Okay, that is the reason why they're capitalizing on that feeling that they have, or that hold, that chokehold that they have over us. So the fact that they are obviously doing this deliberately, but I mean, all of us are probably trying to, give ourselves like a pep talk that, oh, we don't really need this, or we need to prioritize some other cards in favor of something else. Like, for example, let's take the case of Zayn. It's Beach Zayn, and then there's Birthday Zayn, and then there's Myth Zayn, which we don't know what type of myth he will get. And then after that, what if it's like a spicy alternate universe Zayn? How do you prioritize that when it's back to back to back, and if you're someone that's low spender or free to play, how are you supposed to sit and choose? Like, that is some deep shit, like some deep ass conversation that you need to have with yourself in your room quietly. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you see how aggravating that is? Okay. Last but not the least, this response reads, "Oh, I don't think so. As someone who has been playing and still playing several other gacha games, I've noticed that Love and Deepspace is the only one that makes so much FOMO. Gacha games usually have a few manipulative mechanics, but Infold really does take it to the next level. I swear, that is so true. Here are a few things that really bother me about LADs or Love and Deepspace. Number 1, we don't know what the next banners will be. We only get official announcements after the current banner is finished. And just a little side point there, with Infinity Nikki, again, not defending it, I'm just comparing it because it's their sister game. We get to know about the new set of banners 1 week before it's dropped. Okay, so at least people have the last week left of the event to decide whether or not they want to pull on the current one or the new one. They don't even do that with Love and Deepspace. Number 2, the banners are short. They only last for 7 to 20 days. Number 3, there are almost no limited card reruns. We only get Birthday and Myth reruns. One Myth rerun was even during the multi-banner. Number 4, the reruns in Infold are way more expensive. Even the Promise reruns are almost double the price of the original cards. I have never seen anything like this in any other gacha game. Infold really takes the cake when it comes to pressure-induced fear of missing out, or FOMO. Now that is insanely wild and so bloody true, okay? And I just want to show you, just like my closing thoughts for this video, I want to show you like a little chart that I made. I actually made this chart for each of the guys, but today I just want to take the examples of Silas, Raphael, and Xavier, so I will show you. By the way, I made this using like a simple, like a super easy collage template from Canva, if you were wondering. So as we can see, this is last year's schedule for Raphael mains. Okay, literally there is no breathing room. From Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, Raphael always had something going on, which is wild to say the least. And let's look at the cards that he had for this year, shall we? Now keep in mind, these are just all of the limited banner events, okay? I'm not including promise cards or anything. These are the 5-star limited memories. As you can see, Raphael this year also, Jan, Feb, March. Only in April, Raphael had a break. Like, Raphael mains had a break during April. There was nothing going on in April. Then May, then June, his third myth, July, and now in August, his beach card. And the rest is like just, it's like blank right now because the other events haven't been decided. But do you see how bizarre, how absurd, and how borderline insane, crazy, blasphemous, whatever wild or scary adjectives you want to use? I've been using the word wild too much, I apologize for my lack of vocabulary at this very moment. Okay, I'm just so I'm just shocked when I look at this. Then for Silas, now as you can see, the green tick marks indicated I have obtained that card. The only card that I don't have, 5-star card of Silas that I don't have, is his No Defense Zone, which came out in July last year. But even then, do you see the back-to-back schedule ever since he got released? In March and June, Silas mains had a break though. It's still super inconsistent. And this year in August so far, like I got his beach card. But the thing is, with Silas, I feel like with Silas and Caleb, it is a lot more difficult to get their cards because of the fact that they have so less cards in general. Like getting anything to do with, if you're like a Silas only main or Caleb only main, I cannot imagine like how crazy it was. Like that is the reason why I switched from, one of the reasons why I switched from being a Silas only main to, like, getting more cards for Zane and for a few other guys whenever I can, when it is actually reasonably possible for me, just so that I can have a well-rounded team to help me with things like Senior Hunter contest and the bounty hunts and everything. So that is why I chose to expand my team, and because I wanted to increase affinity with all the guys, because I ended up falling in love with all of them. So that is just my personal outlook or personal take on it. I apologize, this video might be getting too long, so I will just stick with Raphael and Silas examples for now. But I'm sure you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. The fact that it is so inconsistent, like the banner schedules do not really match for each and every single guy, with some guys getting 2-month gaps, some getting 1-month gaps, and others not at all. So let me know, what do you think about this whole banner scheduling fiasco and then 100% collection dilemma for your main love interest? Is it possible for you to get all of his cards, or perhaps not? Let me know in the comments section below. I will see you in the next one, my flowers. Bye bye.